Welcome, everyone. Welcome to True North. I'm Renata Marino. Great to be here. Excited for Wednesday. True North is a video podcast, soon to be audio, focused on overcoming adversity and pursuing our purpose. I launched True North several months ago, wanting to share my story and help others overcome adversity and pursue their purpose, both in their personal and professional lives. So I'm here today to talk about a new subject that I'm sure we're all familiar with, core values. One of the things that's very important for us as we progress through life, starting from when we're little children, all the way into adulthood, as we become parents, as we age, is maintaining our core values. Oftentimes, we get distracted. Outside factors, outside variables stray us from our core values. I'm here to talk about the importance of maintaining those core values, regardless of what curveballs, arrows, bricks are thrown our way. Sometimes, when we're going through significant adversity, it is very difficult to maintain our core values, especially if we've had a lot of pre-existing childhood trauma and hurt from the past. But I want to talk about how core values are important in our career and separately in our personal life. But I'm going to begin with career. So oftentimes we take jobs, invest in people, invest in companies, startups, join a company, and we interview, we do our research, however in depth, whatever tools and resources that we have to actually investigate to see if the company, if the startup aligns with our core values. And I think those of us who are smart, strategic, care about making sure that our beliefs, our values, what we love, our interests match who we're investing in, where we're putting our time in. So I'm going to talk, because I'm an investor, I'm going to talk about what I do when I look at a startup. And then I'll separately talk about what I've done and what I think people do when they're interviewing and joining a career, joining a company or moving into an industry. So maybe I'll start with that. So since that was the beginning of my career. So I actually launched a MBA admissions consulting startup back in 2008, and I helped MBAs get into the top 10 business schools. And a lot of that was assessing the candidate, assessing the prospective MBA, doing almost like a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats on an individual candidate, What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And then really talking through with them how to position themselves for whatever schools that they're interested in applying to. So my background involves a lot of ad hoc career advice. I'm really good and I love helping people with their career, positioning themselves, marketing themselves, talking highly of themselves, helping them with their resume. It's something I just do naturally. And because I did it for myself and I've reinvented myself numerous times, and I love helping other people reinvent themselves. So anyway, one of the things I've done, and I've advised a lot of people who are in career transition when they're investigating a company, is do your research. One of the things I always say that is important to make sure that your core values align with their core values. And this actually relates to one of my Blazing Babes members. Blazing Babes is a female founder community that I launched 7 years ago. And we help women launch business startups, scale startups, and actually join startups. This one woman in particular had left corporate for 20 years and moved into a startup. Now, the core values and what the mission and everything aligned, but there were other things that, in a startup world, you have to ask. But one of the things I always say for women, at least, is it's not just the interview and researching the company and the website. It's looking on LinkedIn. It's checking to see who works at that company, seeing if they're willing to talk to you outside of the interview process. People who've left the company, why did they leave the company? Really understanding. You can get a lot of insights on why they left. Maybe you find out there's a repetitive theme of something that doesn't align with your core values. The other tool that I think is amazing for women is called Fairy God Boss. It's an exceptional tool, online tool. I think it's free, where women who've worked at certain companies anonymously say how it was as a female working in those companies. Was there maternity leave? Were women supported in the workplace? What's the culture? And again, you can get a lot of insights from some of these tools, industry tools, on evaluating whether or not the company aligns with your core values. The reason why is if you end up saying yes to the company and you're in there and the vibe isn't your vibe, like maybe you're the type of person, and I'm going to give you an example. I don't mean to throw them under the bus, but this was huge for me. Even the environment, like checking out the scene, making sure, like, do you want to work? Is it an office? Is it an open floor plan? I mean, all these things, that's not really core values, but it actually leads to core values, because if it's an open floor plan, maybe there's more collaboration. Maybe if it's, cubicles, maybe there's less collaboration and less teamwork, and maybe the teamwork is a core value of yours. So there's so many things that you should ask and observe to be able to see if does this company align with my core values. And then also, I think in corporate, at least, and startups, more advanced startups, Series B startups, what kind of perks do they have, or do they have like off-site team working abilities, or maybe you don't like that. There's certain things that you should ask to see that if it aligns with your core values. But I really do any kind of ethics. If they support nonprofits, if they do, you really need to ask the right questions. Do they give back? Do they promote health and wellness? And so I'm going to give an example. So 2 different companies that I was at, I after business school, I went and worked for a couple companies, but one of them in particular was Life Fitness. They make fitness equipment. So I was leading at age 33, 32, leading global P&L teams, basically a group of engineers, software engineers, electrical tech, everybody. The whole leading new product development, design thinking. But as the product manager, we had 2 buildings. We had the corporate building where it was very fancy and nice and, beautiful carpets. And I think I had a cubicle at the time. And then, so half our time was spent in corporate. And then maybe 1 or 2 miles away or 3 miles away, there was a manufacturing plant. And as the product manager, it's our responsibility to go and work and meet with the engineers who are typically in that building, and looking at the manufacturing floor and making sure all the processes and everything is intact. I was responsible for the life cycle, which is the upright bike and the recumbent bike for Life Fitness, and then also all the LCD, LED consoles, all the tech, touchscreen technology, you plug in your iPhone, all that stuff, all the tech across both consumer and commercial. Incredible responsibility at the time, at age 32, 33. But bottom line is, the two different dynamics. You'd have the manufacturing floor, which was literally dirty. I mean, I would be dressed like this, going with heels, going on the manufacturing floor, and it's dusty and dirty. And I don't even know if they had lab coats, but it wasn't as glamorous as, and now I'm speaking very honestly, that manufacturing environment was not fun. It was depressing. And a lot of us are the original product team. We called it the Death Star. So I think environment for me, again, it's core values too, because it's when I walk into a place, even when I walk into a restaurant, even when I walk into someone's home, even like and even my home is very spa-like. It's very happy. There's flowers. So environment is really important to me. So being able to check out the space. I do believe that environment and the way the structure of the company is set up actually correlates with teamwork, collaboration, whatever. And those are important core values to me. So that's corporate. And I think there's a lot of tools out there that aren't just the stats of the company, but the culture aspects, the soft part, the qualitative aspects of the company. But I really think that trying to get some insights, talking to people who've left the company, talking to people who work at the company in different departments. That's the other thing is I always tell people when they're considering joining a company, ask to talk offline with people who work in different departments, because you may be working in marketing, but you're going to be interacting with finance. You're going to be interacting with some of the other teams. And I really do think that you want to get a different perspective of the other teams. The other thing that's important that I think that relates to core values is some corporate companies, they have each department, marketing, finance, or what have you, engineering, you need to know, and mostly executive people know this, but even as a middle manager, you need to know, is your group a revenue source? Is your group a powerful group within the company? Are you a cost? So and is your personality more of a support type of personality or leadership? And so in my case, I've always been leadership. So product management kind of was the leader. We told the company what they're going to build. And then the engineers are the ones that were building it. And there was a lot of push-pull between the product managers and the engineers, but that's in any typical type of manufacturing tech company. But you have to know your personality, and you also have to, which relates to your core values, but you have to really know that before you're going into a company. On the flip side, if you're an investor, I'm an investor, and so investing in a startup. So this is actually really critical, and I talk about this a lot. And some of the savvier investors, I think, are really good at this, at least the ones that have maybe a smaller fund, or maybe not. But I think whether you're an angel investor, whether you're investing in a fund, or whether you're a fund investing in startups, I invest in early stage startups, so pre-seed and seed, which are companies that have an idea, but they actually have some level of traction. They've proved that actually people will pay for the product or service, at least in the early stage. And that's really challenging because it's early and they're just starting out. Maybe they put some of their own money in, maybe they have some sales or some traction, some validation. But the key in my mind in investing in an early stage startup is the people, the core values. I look at the core values of the team, and you really can't figure that out unless you spend a lot of time with them. And so what I like to do, and maybe some people disagree with me, I like to spend time getting to know the founder, the co-founder, maybe even if they're just a co-founder and founder, maybe there's a tech person, a CTO, or a manufacturing person, and then the advisor, meeting the other advisors, because that's one area, because you can read a lot to see the type of people that, it's not even just the skills, and this is actually really important. It's not just the skills, it's spending time with someone and asking them different questions about how they handle certain situations, moral and ethical questions, looking, getting to know them on a personal level, understanding their personal background, if they've overcome adversity, what kind of challenges have they gone through in their personal life, and in their professional life. Why are they doing what they're doing? But you can read a lot about someone's ethics and core values by spending time with them, and each week. So I tend to spend at least 1 hour a week with the startups that I'm interested in investing in, just to get to know them and help them. I'm not just interviewing them or, investigating. I'm helping them, and I'm seeing, like, are they grateful for the help? Do they follow through? Do they get back to me on emails? Are they argumentative? Or and I could speak one startup I worked with. It's incredible. So I'm working right now with 4, and one startup founder I worked with 2 years ago, I worked with about for 10 months. And I discovered through that process was that he wasn't as appreciative, and based on all the things that I helped him. I redid his pitch deck. I did so much for him. And so I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, and he wasn't very kind and wasn't very thoughtful. And he did actually apologize after he raised. After he got what he needed, he came back and apologized to me. And that's fine. That's fine. But we all go through different things. So again, I believe that if you're investing in someone, whether it's a startup, whether it's a fund, whether it's a person, it's like a marriage. And I think that you can't do that. You can't sign up with someone unless you understand that you have shared core values. And the only way to do that is through time, spending time with the person and observing them and seeing how do they overcome adversity? How do they handle strife? What do they talk about? What do they tweet about? What do they post about? Really, really understanding of them. Are they consistent in who they are? It's very important. Are they consistent in who they are? Are they consistent in their actions? This is how you are able to determine someone's core values. The other thing is that's really important that I look at, and it's not even both corporate and startups. And this is coming from someone who has probably one of the top best educations from middle school, high school, college, and business school. And I worked very hard to get all of those accolades, awards, all the prestigious things. Yes, those matter. Yes, it matters that the founder was a serial, entrepreneur. They had several exits. What are their core values? It's great. I can have all the accolades, all the education. It's great. And it's helped me a lot. It's helped me with networking. It's helped me with credibility, with brains. It's helped me. But you can have a Harvard MBA. You could have, a University of Chicago MBA. You could have fame and fortune, a trophy. You could be, a professional athlete. You could be someone famous. You could have you can make all this money. What are your core values? Are you a good person? Do you give back? Are you kind to others? Are you honest with people? Are you, do you pay it forward? I think I said that. Who are the other people that you spend time with? Are they kind? Are they thoughtful? What are their values? What do they value in life? It doesn't matter. It matters, their education and all the accolades and everything, but how are they using that platform, those tools that they worked hard for? How are they using those tools to help others? How are they using those tools, the platform, the fame, the clout, the money, the education to help others. I believe that investing in people that have strong core values, that regardless of the bricks, regardless of the arrows, regardless of what's thrown at them, they maintain their core values: honesty, loyalty, trustworthiness, all the things that make us really good, honorable human beings. Because at the end of the day, when we're old and gray, we should be proud of all our decisions. We should be proud of how we treated each other. We should be proud of, yes, the money's great. Yes, everything's great, but you can't take all the money to the grave with you. You can't. You can take how you were and how you treated people. It's very important. And then also on the flip side, when we talk about core values in friendships, in marriages, in partnerships, on the personal side, and I believe that the personal and professional are intertwined. For me as an entrepreneur, as an investor, I want to know everything about who I'm investing in. And I do believe it has a lot to do with what's going on the personal side, especially for female founders. I'm a former female founder or current as well. One of the things I've noticed with female founders is that we have a lot of more responsibilities. Especially if we're mothers, and we've, taking care of the children, everything that goes on at home, and mental health is affected with all founders, but especially with women, caregiving needs. And so one of the things I'm doing as an investor is allocating some funds to actually support female founders with their caregiving and mental health needs, because I believe that that's something I experienced as a former founder in my marriage, and not having that support system. And that's going to make or break the startup. So you have to be able to support the person, the personal side. It's not just the deal. And I actually have a problem, and sometimes I catch myself doing it because it's what the language everyone else uses, is I don't like when people say, "Oh, this is my deal." It's a startup. It's a founder. You're investing, especially if it's early stage. I have a problem with that. But one of the things I think is really critical when you're on the personal front, when assessing someone's core values, is consistency, trust, loyalty, honesty. And you can't evaluate that unless you see the person in different environments over time. And as somebody who's an expert networker, I've been written up numerous times in networking, and I believe networking is such a terrible buzzword, but it's so critical. It's about credibility and reputation, and consistency is key for me. And I like to see people who are consistent in their behavior, and consistent in who they are, and consistent in their core values. And sometimes we all have bumps in the road. I know I did. But I think the hardest thing for those of us who've been through significant adversity in our lives is maintaining those core values. And I think outside people who want to invest in you, who want to invest in me, they will invest when they know the story and all the adversity that I've overcome. And I think all of us, the biggest hurdle is maintaining your core values when you're going through a hard time in your life. It's really, really hard. I know it's been hard for me. And I mean, I don't know any other way, quite honestly. I don't know how to turn to the dark side. I just plow right through it. And it sucks. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I feel like it's really important for those of us who've been through significant storms to talk about how hard it is, and not convey that it was easy and look at how great I am. I honestly think that's why I always say that leaders should talk about their failures, because we don't want to paint the wrong picture, or rosy colored glasses for others. We really want to paint the honest picture. I love when I see leaders or motivational speakers talk about and read books like Brené Brown and Jay Shetty, and who else? Lewis Howes, Dave Goggins, Jesse Itzler, um, all these amazing people. I'm missing a lot of people. Oh, holistic psychologist. I follow her. Glennon Doyle. These are amazing leaders. These I consider them my tribe that I look up to and I really value them. They all have overcome adversity and now they're turning their pain into power, but they all have great core values. Yes, a lot of them were on the dark side. I know I was, and we all faced some of the darkness, but we all got out of it. And I think it's our job to be truthful about how hard it was, but look where we are now, and to turn our story, our pain into power. Anyway, I hope that really helps. Like I said, make sure your core values align with who you're signing up with, whether you're investing in someone, whether you're joining a company, whether you're getting married with a partner. Make sure that, because I think it's going to hinder or help your success and your overall happiness. And I do believe that we should sign up with people that jive with us, whether it's a company or a person. And that takes time. That takes time to assess, and the right resources and the right questions to ask, and different environments to assess in. Anyway, I hope that helps. I'm going to do cards. Put my glasses on. I hope everyone's doing well. This is my favorite part. Oh, before I do cards, I do want to mention, speaking of core values, I did not take her class at Booth, but she's amazing. Her name is Linda Ginzel. This book is her book. It's called Choosing Leadership. It's actually a workbook. She has down here, doing good is worth doing well. I went to, actually I'm going to go back, but Chicago, I'm a 2002 graduate of the Chicago Booth Business School full-time program back in the day, 20 years ago. Wow. And we're having a reunion this year, and every spring they have a management conference. So I'm going to be attending the management conference. It's in May, actually. But the last management, I actually went to, my sister also graduated from Booth in 2004, full-time, my middle sister. And I actually went to her reunion and went to the management conference with her. And we were sitting in this woman's, this professor's class, and she gave away these books, Choosing Leadership. And she's part of, Booth has an amazing program called the Rustandi Center. It's for social impact. And I'm actually part of they have a social impact, a social new venture challenge, which is a startup pitch competition that I'm a part of, linked to, as well as the Global New Venture Challenge and the regular New Venture Challenge. But it's amazing, all this startups and innovation that's coming out of Booth and all the University of Chicago and all the universities across the U.S., including Harvard. I just joined Harvard's iLabs, which is great. And now I'm trying to get into the Stanford Tech startup platform. But anyway, this woman, Linda, this is a great book. I'll read this. This workbook is a tool that everyone will benefit from when striving to become their best self. Perform up to theirs. When do you choose to lead? Linda Ginzel, PhD, has spent years studying social psychology and teaching in business school classrooms. Her unique perspective on leadership development acknowledges that the self is a work in progress, and that leadership is a skill, not a trait, honed through reflection and practice. The first act, choosing to lead. This book will not tell you how to lead. It will show you how to build your path to effective leadership in all aspects of your life. What are you waiting for? This is great. This is awesome. She's amazing. She's amazing. So this is a workbook. I'm seeing what I have here. Oh, she signed it. Oh, I took notes. Oh my God, there's formulas in here. Wait. Okay, here's the formula. You ready? Everybody write this down. I feel like I'm a professor. B equals F, and then in parentheses, P, comma, S, close parentheses. Again, capital B, which means behavior, equals F is the function, for those of you who know math really well. And then parentheses, P, which is people, comma, S, which is situations. And so it says here, your behavior, this relates to core values too. Your behavior equals a function of people, 80 to 90%. This is why I say you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. As well, and then situations, 10 to 20%. So your behavior is a function of 80 to 90% is the weight. Your behavior is a function of the people that you hang out with, i.e. your community, your partner, your friends, and then the situations that you're faced in, overcoming adversity, how you handle certain situations. Your behavior is a function of people who you hang out with, the 5 people you spend your most time with, your partner, as well as situations. The situations you find yourself in, the curveballs, the bombs, the storms you've been through. Your behavior is a reflection of the people, your community, as well as the situations that your life throws at you. This is coming from Linda Ginzel, PhD at Booth, from her book, Choosing Leadership. I just found this because I haven't looked in this book. It's amazing. So I hope that helps. It's a great book. You should look at it. Look for it. I have it. I've read a little bit of it. I've done a little bit of workshop. I probably should do more. All right, let's do cards, and then I'm ready to kick off my day. All right, ready? This is the fun part. What did you do that drove your parents crazy? Stand up for myself. They called it answering back. I stood up for myself. Yeah. I think I have my own voice. I was less compliant. I think in the beginning, I started becoming more conforming later because I didn't want to argue. So I conformed. And that's hard. I think that's, you don't want to rock the boat. I think when you're little and you have your voice, and I think about this as a parent, I really worry about this. I want my kids to I want them to speak up and not just say our way is the highway, because then they're not going to be able to do that in adulthood, and they're going to be in abusive relationships, or if they want to speak up at work, they're going to they won't be happy. They won't be able to do that and be their own self-advocate. There's a fine line between standing up for yourself and setting healthy boundaries and just not saying anything because you don't want to rock the boat. I could talk about that subject for days, months. I will. Who has the greatest singing voice of all time? Luciano Pavarotti. No, it's Placido Domingo. I will say that. I grew up listening to opera as a little girl. When I was little, my dad's Mexican, my mom's Italian. My dad grew up with opera. I was very fortunate as a little girl, 12 years old, 10, 11, 12, going to the Met. We would drive from Boston to New York City to go to the Met. And I've seen the greatest. I've seen Carmen, La Boheme, Turandot, Tales of Hoffmann. I have not seen Faust. I have not seen The Ring. My dad has. It's very long. I think it's 3 days. But I've seen them all. Placido Domingo went to high school with my dad. It's really cool. I say Placido Domingo. He's such a great guy. Such a great guy. Have you ever had anything stolen? Guy right out of college, and then it was found. I had a Honda Accord. Okay, next one. What's your most meaningful family heirloom? My diamond earrings my grandmother gave me before she died. They're tiny, but I'm not wearing them now because my son ripped my ear hole when he was a toddler. I was wearing hoop earrings and he ripped it. I don't mean to be grotesque, but I need to get it fixed. But my diamond earrings my grandmother gave me. They're great. They mean a lot. It means a lot to me. If you could teleport and instantly appear anywhere right now, where would you go? Oh, Bermuda or Nantucket, one of the islands. Everybody knows I love the beach. I love the ocean. The ocean. I'll take the lake as long, it's not the best, but I'm okay with just being grateful. But I love the islands because I feel it's like a safe haven. And that's why I love, going to Nantucket with my kids, going to Bermuda. I miss Bermuda a lot. I would like to go back this June. What do you think of first when you wake up in the morning? Oh, my alarm gets up at 4 or 5 a.m. and I'm like, I rock and roll. I'm ready to go work out. I'm like, okay, positive thinking, a positive thought. And usually it's reflective of what I was dreaming the night before. But if I have a negative thought, I quickly flip the switch. And I think for me, quite honestly, because I exercise every day and I do my HIIT class, that's something I look forward to. It really, if I have a negative thought, that class itself, even though maybe I want to go, and the music and everything in the class and moving my body, having my coffee and just this in the morning is critical. And knowing I'm going to work out and do something healthy for myself. So if I'm negative or if I have a negative thought or if I'm stressed, taking care of my health and moving my body and getting that endorphin high completely flips the switch in my head. But I do, and then throughout the day, if I do have some anxiety or negative thoughts, I have to handle it. I have to go in nature or meditate, take a break. I think it's important to manage our thoughts and our feelings because I think it's a reflection of our behavior and how we interact with people and what happens in our success and our overall happiness. Okay, this is the girl power one, and I'm going to say goodbye. Jane Goodall. I like some animals more than some people. Some people more than some animals. This is a good quote. I always talk about my dog. She's amazing. She's amazing. We're lucky to have her in our family. If you were able to study one animal in their habitat, which would you choose? Huh. You know what? I had the hummingbird. So I actually should talk to him. A couple years ago, I was meeting with an investor for a fund, and I was on vacation in Nantucket. Speaking of Nantucket, I was on vacation in Nantucket and was right outside the ice cream shop. What's it called? The Juice Bar. And it was during COVID. It was 2020. Oh my God. And I was sitting on a bench with my mask on, and we sat there for 3 hours, and probably 2 out of the 3 hours, he was talking about hummingbirds. He did a study. He has his PhD in chemistry. He's really smart, and he invests in biotech out of Philly. And he is was he a Wharton guy? I think he went to Amherst, whatever. This is highly academic, highly smart, super nice guy. Oh, he's a veteran. He's a vet. The guy's amazing. He's an amazing guy. But anyway, I literally listened to him talking about chemistry in hummingbirds and how he studied hummingbirds and their behavior for 2 years in Costa Rica. And it had a lot to do with, it was just a really interesting, when you can study an animal or a bird or whatever, it's reflected of behavior, and there's a lot of analogies with human beings. And I can't remember what he said, but I was listening. I was fascinated. I think he followed up after I sent a thank you email, I think he followed up with all these photos of him with animals. He's smart, nice guy. Again, core values. Anyway, guys, have a great day. Tune in to my True North. I love talking about these subjects. I definitely want to bring on some guests to talk about some of these things, especially this one particular subject, core values. We'll probably do it again, but it's great to be here. I'm so glad I'm doing this. I hope I can help more people, and enjoy the rest of your week, and tune in tomorrow or the next day. Later.